Welcome back to another episode of the Doggone Truth About Rescue, Season 4, Episode 1.B, Part 2, with co-host Cyrita.
Hey!
And co-host Jen Dulski, you're just on the most episodes, so you're a co-host. So we're going to recap still and talk more about big updates for 2025. And this is the best and easiest part to just pass it over to Jen.
You know what? You put me on the spot with that one because we just did an episode a couple weeks ago. It's always amazing to know how much goes on, sometimes within 24 hours. I think the last time since we spoke, we were bringing in, it was the frozen tundra outside. It hit negative double digits outside to where animals were literally freezing to the ground. And it was just one night we saw a post that said, an elderly man that was blind had a mama and 9 puppies dropped on his farm in front of him. And in the middle of nowhere, kind of probably 2 hours south of St. Louis. So nowhere near us. If you know, we're in the Kansas City area. We have 3 different locations. And to know the network of people that don't even know each other, but hey, and you have this common mission, this common bond to come together and say, we've got to get these animals out of the cold or they will die. So the lengths that we went to, that Kelly went to, that Craig went to, that all of our amazing volunteers went to save 10 lives. A Saturday night, she's doing family stuff, Craig's doing family stuff, everybody has our outside lives. And just to drop everything and say, hey, we're going to find a way. We have no idea how to do this. And it just came together beautifully. And then we brought them to our little gray barn. And it's so funny because with each barn, there are different types of dogs that go there. Our little red barn has our very social dogs because it's a big pack. We try to keep it as much of a home-like environment as possible. So sometimes we have a large pack of 16 dogs, up to 16 in there. And then we have our selective dogs that are upstairs in the suites that don't get along with other dogs, so they have to be separated. But our Oz shelter in Osawatomie, we really don't have control over the dogs that go there because the city of Osawatomie brings us their strays. We help the city of Gardner as well as Miami County. So that can be kind of a hodgepodge of dog friendly, dog aggressive. But KCMO, that location has typically been for our very dog reactive or dog selective dogs. So our longer term dogs, because people just don't take on the risks of that. And so we have a good news update on that, but we've never really had puppies there before. And you get kind of, and I know I shared this in the last episode, you get this sadness because your heart just yearns for a home for them because you see and feel all the love that they have to give. And just because they don't get along with other dogs doesn't mean that they are aggressive in any way to humans. And that's such a sad stereotype. Oh my God, it's a pit bull, wants to attack other dogs, won't be good in a home with kids. Totally false. Every single dog is unique. Every single soul is unique. And that's very much how we are as human beings as well. So we try to break those stereotypes. Every dog has the facts and circumstances that surrounds what are their triggers and what aren't. And we do our very best to figure them out. But we have kind of the same staff every day that takes care of the same dogs. And then to be like, hey guys, we're bringing you a mama and nine tiny little puppies.
Is doubling the amount of dogs there, basically.
What's that? Oh yeah, we doubled dogs. Yeah. So all of a sudden there were 20 dogs in one day. And we're like, we need the volunteers. We need another staff member there. And it's just so funny because I finally got out there and I met them. And if you've ever been swarmed by puppies, it's the greatest feeling in the whole world when they just climb on you and they're biting you and they're nibbling, and they got sharp teeth too. They really, really do. Because these were 12-week-old little beagle mixes puppies. And by the grace of God, they were saved because they were still nursing off their mom. So their beautiful Mama Melba, kept them alive in these frigid temperatures. And there's no reason they should be alive. That's why we call them our Missouri Miracle puppies. But then, of course, Kelly went rogue with Beth and Julie, and they named them all after fruit, which makes no sense. And one of the boys got named Cherry. So it's all over the place. So the name game gets out of control. But just to give our staff a chance to see that they're alive today because of them. And I think I wish everybody could take a step back. I wish they would listen to our podcast because I don't think that our team members truly understand the impact that they have on not only the souls that they take in, but the movement they create to inspire others to do more. Because it's not about knowing what to do, it's about attempting to try. Because if you don't attempt to try, then you can never get forward to achieve whatever goal that is. So that was our first take at Mama and Puppies at our little gray barn. We still have 2 little puppies there that are going to foster, and 3. And by Friday, they will all be in homes, including Mama Melba, which is such an amazing thing because sometimes when Mama gets forgotten, but she's so loved, and so miracles really do happen. Like I said last time, you just have to have the courage to try. So what we're going to do going forward is we're going to add an additional staff member. We're going to hire another staff member, and we're going to have a puppy room there. So we're always saving mamas and their babies because so many rescues do so many good things, but there's always a need to do more. So we want to step up in the ways that we know how to help. We know how to shelter animals. We know how to love them, treat them like our own, and find them the loving forever home. So that's kind of an exciting update from figuring it out and learning as we go. Aside from that, I mean, there's just been so many
There's one
beautiful.
more. There's one more from Little Gray Barn.
Yes.
Because we literally,
Speaking of
yeah.
miracles,
we just talked about it on part A of our episode.
True. Okay, well, the amazing news is we have 2 longtime residents. One of them, Edison, was actually there, I think, when we opened our Little Gray Barn. And he is getting adopted. He is going to Michigan. And our another long-term resident, Joy, she is going to Texas. So I think Joy actually has never, Joy was born in a shelter. So, and she's 5 years old now. So it's just a true testament to never give up, to love them like our own until we find someone else that sees their soul for who they are and then recognizes that, hey, I'm going to step up and be the person that this soul needs. And sometimes it's just a feeling inside your heart. You're drawn to a photo and you can't explain it. I think that's why when I post a photo of a dog that looks like it's suffering at a kill shelter, or I write many of the goodbyes on our social media posts, and Kelly does as well. It just depends on who is touched. Or even sometimes even has the time to write it, but you can absolutely fall madly in love with a photo and with the story. And we had a dog that was, it was in Oklahoma, and he was found in a dumpster, and he was actively dying in the dumpster. And a good Samaritan walked by and picked him up out of the dumpster. And they brought him to a kill shelter. Now, what are you going to do? You know, if you're a good Samaritan, you pick a dog up, you bring them to a shelter. Now, do you know if it's a kill shelter? I put the word kill shelter in front of it because I know this was Oklahoma City. They are a high kill shelter. They take in thousands upon thousands of animals. What I can tell you are there are very, very good people inside that shelter trying to make things different. Now, who's running it? Different story. That's why I always say, make sure you know who's running these shelters. This is a taxpayer funded facility. Let me get that out of the way. Going back to the dumpster dog, we named him Divine. And the second that we saw his photo, it was a Sunday night. We knew that we had to help. And so we immediately rushed him to the vet the next day. A beautiful volunteer did. It's just amazing the people that step up to help, you know, and just think, hey, you know what? I'm going to call off work. I'm going to jump in my car and I'm going to take this dog from a kill shelter to the vet. And we got him there. And I think he lasted 1 night there, and then we lost him. And if you look at the photos of Divine, someone just threw this beautiful soul away, and he suffered tremendously. So he had cancer riddled throughout his body, and it was just the kindest thing we could ever do was to love him enough to let him go. And very similarly, there's another heartbreaking story. We took in a dog that looks we saw a photo, and actually, maybe I'm mixing the names up. I am.
Did you have a
it's not-
divinity?
well, no, Divinity was today. So Divinity. So this is
All the
interesting to me
photos of
because-
Divinity, and I
So-
just, oh my
Okay,
God.
so Divinity, well, gosh, we've been getting so many
This is like
starved
the 10th
dogs.
one, I feel like, within the last few
Yeah.
weeks that look
We're
that
close.
body.
We're close to double digits with the amount of extreme neglect
Oh.
that dogs come in. And, it's funny because the shelters reach out to us and they say, hey, this is a good one for Always and Forever, because we do take the hard. We take the ones people shy away from, because we're going to have to invest the funds, the love, the time, the patience into them. And these are souls others literally have tortured. Think about being hungry for like 5 hours. Now imagine being hungry for like 10 days, 2 weeks, to where your body is eating away at your own organs. It's just horrific what these dogs endure. But Divinity, I saw her photo, and it's so funny that you said that, because I was actually talking about another dog. I'll get to that. Divinity, there was something in her that she looked like divine, and we thought we need to save her, and maybe divine led us to Divinity, and so that's how we got her name. But one night, I think it was another Sunday night, you never know what day it is in rescue because they all kind of blend together. And these dogs torture your soul. Kelly can share this story better, but she saw a post of a dog that was paralyzed, and I hadn't seen the post, and I saw it the next day, and she had it in her back nine, and she's always networking to try to find someone to help if we can't. And I saw it, and immediately Kelly and I connected, and we said, let's find a way to save him, even if we just get him to a vet and it's a compassionate goodbye. Now, here's the horrible thing. He was found laying in his own urine. And many, many times when a male dog is paralyzed, they cannot urinate on their own, so they need to be expressed. And for, I think, 2 days, he was at the shelter and no one expressed him. And so we had a volunteer pick him up. We actually named him Chris Jones because he kind of looked like our TK, and we already had it, Jason Kelsey, that we named that looks just like TK. So we're like, oh, let's jump on that Chiefs bandwagon. So he was our Chris Jones. We give every single dog and cat a name, so they know they're loved, so they know their life is valued, and that they mattered. And so we went to pick up Chris Jones the next morning. Beautiful, big white pit bull, big boy. And we thought, how in the world are we going to get a paralyzed dog a home that needs to be expressed, that probably has an upper respiratory infection? And then to leave him in a medical boarding until he's better, until he can come into our care. And I thought, well, we've had Scribbles, and Scribbles peed and pooed all over the barn, everywhere. And he did everyone that came in, and it was like a pee shower. Like you were covered in feces and pee every time you took care of Scribbles. And he was just the happiest guy. And so I always keep that in the back of my mind. Like, we did it once, we can do it again. So if we could get him to us, because remember, anytime a dog comes from out of state, you need a health certificate. So you have to have a health certificate that says this dog doesn't have anything contagious and it can cross state lines to come into the state of Kansas. So we knew we'd have that hurdle, but we said, forget it. Let's take a leap of faith. We have to get him out of the shelter. Amazing volunteer hopped in the car that morning to get him, because the shelter was shut down when we sent the tag to save his life. She brought him into the car, and I do believe someone immediately expressed him. And she said it was probably like a gallon of urine that had come out. It was so much urine because it had just been blocked in there, and no one had expressed him. And she called Kelly and she said, he's actively dying, in her car. And she said, but the most beautiful thing, that when they picked him up after they expressed him and they carried him into her car, there was like this beautiful sigh of relief. And he just looked at her in her eyes, and it was just like a moment of thank you, of peace, of from all that pain that he had been left sitting in that shelter, neglected, forgotten, ignored, to where he was relieved. And then he was on a blanket and he was loved. Now his skin was stained yellow and brown from laying in his feces and urine. And the vets actually had to rush out to the car and let him go there, because he was dying. And that was the very very most loving thing that they could have done for him. But if we hadn't pulled him, if she hadn't been willing to go and pick him up and to put her own heart aside and her pain aside, to hold him, to let him have that moment of relief where he looks you in the eye and says, thank you. I'll never forget when we brought Mikhail out here from Wichita, and I thought I basically brought up a dead dog. And I remember the moment when I was looking in Julie's eyes before he went into surgery. And it was almost like I was telling her I was sorry. Like maybe I was wrong to put him through this. And many times I am wrong. But in so many situations when there is any type of hope, I have to go in all in on it, especially for the ones that are young, that never had anyone believe in them. And now even you go back to Divine and you go to Chris Jones, they were so far gone, so far neglected, that the best thing, the most beautiful thing that you can do is give them that peace. And even a compassionate, loving goodbye, where you take them out of a horrific shelter, when you take them out of their pain. Like think about human beings that are actively dying too, and how, it's one thing for the loved ones to say, hold on, fight forever, but it's another if a human being is begging to be let go. And we don't do that as a society. Maybe in Utah, I don't know what state that is, that we do that. But for an animal, I will always believe the eyes are a window to a soul. And even when you're so selfish and everything inside you screams not to let go. I mean, I know I personally do that. I did that with my Libby and my Muggsy, and I beg them to stay. And then when they are ready, when it is time, I kiss them, I hold them, and I tell them heaven is better, and I let them go. And then I go home and I die inside. And it's just amazing that when you post a photo, you can feel that deep, deep love and deep, deep pain of loss, just because you're so connected to these stories. Because here's another thing too. Not one of these animals would ever be alive if all of us didn't believe that their lives are worth saving. And that's why $5, $10, $100,000, every single investment that goes into Always and Forever goes into saving the lives that others look past. Because when you do a euthanasia, even without cremation, it's still $200 to $400. So you're still paying the vet fees on that. And while we used to do individual cremations, I'll share this story too. When we were initially a senior dog sanctuary, I wanted every single dog cremated. And then I was like, I will be their forever home after they're in heaven. And a little crazy back then. Everybody is a little crazy too, because ultimately when you die and you pass, you live in heaven. So your remains here are exactly that. You're just remains. But I thought I'm going to give them a home forever. And don't get me wrong, my personal pets are cremated in here too. But at one point I had 60 dogs, cremated boxes in this living room behind me. And I just felt heavy. And it's not because, they were here haunting me. If anything, they're here trying to lift me up, because I'm a very, very, very big believer that heaven is just one dimension away. You can't see it. And your loved ones walk beside you the entire time. But 50 to 60 urns or whatever boxes, I was like, okay, this has to stop. And number one, we're spending way too much money. And so we actually had a beautiful little ceremony where we did lay them to rest. And we just do paw prints right now. And we ultimately give them back to the earth and give them back to God, because that's where we all came from. We will all be there one day. And, 100 years from now, none of that's going to matter. Like, I don't even care if I'm remembered. What I care about with the legacy of Always and Forever is building a legacy of love and teaching and inspiring the next generation and showing them how to care for these animals, how to love them, how a shelter should be run, and how to take the most insane, craziest leaps of faith that nobody else is willing to take, and just know that it will all work out, because what we're doing is from love. And that's what's amazing. It's not believing that something will happen. That's one thing, but faith is knowing that by no means could I ever do this alone, but everything about trusting God in this mission and these values that we have, it will happen. And maybe it's not the way we saw it. We never thought that we would purchase a property in KCMO after we just purchased 40 acres in Spring Hill, and our neighbors protested us. We got in a huge legal battle, and it was just the most soul crushing experience. But if you're going to crush my soul over a neighbor and a legal battle, do it. If that's my only pain, great. If it means that we can save other animals in a different capacity, then that's a miracle. And that's how you just jump in on faith, knowing God has a plan, and it really does always work out.
That was just on the news, right? The new location.
Yeah. So we had an open house Saturday. It was called Freezing for a Reason. Cy, your ice bath is sitting there. I brought you it and you didn't show up. That's okay.
Did everyone hop in the ice bath to freeze for a reason?
No one hopped in the ice bath. And but we did have really amazing hot chocolate and hot cider and sandwiches. And I brought my dogs. So there were 4 dogs running around. Glinda came too. Every now and then Louis tried to pick a fight. It is what it is. You know, nobody's perfect. And but it was just a great time to walk people through the dream, to show them what our future will be. And that's the crazy faith again, because we didn't think we'd be there, and God had other plans. So we've learned to go with it. So
I love when I give you the mic to start off, because it's been about 20 minutes and I just never know where your story is going to go.
I don't know where I'm going.
Or like where we're going to, like, we started talking about puppies, but then we were grieving, and then we're back to the KCMO East. And it's just like,
well, you know what?
Journey listening to you speak every time.
I need
That's what life is.
What's the latest on Mikkel?
Mikhail is doing wonderful. He's in an adopter's home. Now he's got a brother, he's got a sister, furry brother, furry sister. His favorite person on this earth is his human sister. So she rocks his world. And it's just a beautiful thing, you know.
Does he still have his own website to follow the journey? Are they still doing
Does. I think it's Bob's World. I can't remember it, the name of it, but that was her former dog that had passed, and she just carries that forward.
I was thinking when you started to explain the difference between the Little Gray Barn, KCMO, that's the same thing. Either way, in Little Red Barn, as we start building out and promoting our podcast and hopefully gain a lot of new listeners, we probably should include some more of the background stuff to start it off. So,
yeah. So we're on Instagram now.
Yes.
As a separate.
So we have our own separate Instagram, The Doggone Truth About Rescue.
It looks pretty dope.
Thank you. I'm shocked no one, we're the OGs. No one even had that Instagram name. Like, I didn't even have to I didn't have to add numbers at the end.
It's really important because we might want to get that copyrighted someday.
Yeah,
that's right.
I think we might have to get it copyrighted because I didn't have to put a dot. I didn't have to do anything. It was just available. So look at us being creative and original.
Meant to be.
Yes. So Instagram is up. We're going to start building out little video snippets like we talked about in part A to get on the new heights level. So I'll be sending you over, not today, because we're just, not today. I'm going to be sending you over an Amazon list of we're going to get some ring lights. We'll get some mics that actually hook into our computers. Yeah, you have good ones.
Are you using one right now?
No, but when I hook it up,
you're just glowing? Okay. Yeah, you are. Okay.
But so, and then each week we'll do a special post for the cover dog. So outside the cover, Pluto is the first one of just promoting them a little bit more, sharing more of the Always and Forever. And once we get the video parts of it going and we're looking good, we'll be on TikTok.
Awesome.
As long as that's still a platform.
It is for the next month and a half or something, whatever Trump said, who knows?
But then hopefully through that, we can start hitting a new audience, getting more donations, monetizing. I just saw something on a news article. I think it was $2 billion that Facebook paid out to content creators last year.
Wow.
We could be a part of that. Like, we talk about this all the time. The money's out there. We just have to.
I know it. And the whole thing is that this is the best. I mean, I can't think of anything better to donate towards. I really don't. I mean, mostly because that's all I give everything I have to it. Because, you know what? If you don't believe in what you're doing, you can't ask anyone else to. So it's always been all in for me. And what I find the most amazing thing is how many other people it's all in. And it's not even people that are here. It's across the country. It's across the world. Like we are bonded and connected by love. And nothing on this earth is stronger than love. So
That just reminded me of a question I wanted to ask you while we were still talking about Edison, but then we did the little journey of Jen's
I
conversation.
started talking to myself.
So, with Edison and Joy, obviously one going up to Michigan, one going down to Texas, and they are such unique and special dogs. How does that go with the adoption process? Do they have to come and actually do meet and greets? Is it all virtual to make sure that it's truly like the right fit for
Really
them?
good question. So we have such a cool adoption team where we have different areas that people are able to contribute. So first of all, when an app comes in, it's evaluated, and then there's an initial email that happens, and they say, oh, an adoption coordinator will be in touch soon. Now we do a virtual home check, we do reference checks, and we do vet checks as well. Now, and we do background checks. So if something comes up that's a red flag anywhere, then we might ask for personal references too. But we kind of took that away because we're going to give a personal reference for everybody's going to be glowing about you, right? So why would you do that? We also do that for anyone else adult that lives in the house. So let's say there's a boyfriend kind of thing. So we don't require that you come here to meet one of our dogs unless it is a human selective dog, such as Mr. Maddox. Mr. Maddox is going to require several meet and greets. And, I do get some people that are interested in him. And I say this all the time. He is not for everybody, but he's for somebody. And so we'll wait for the right home. And that is the amazing part of having sanctuary in the name and never giving up hope that there is someone out there to love these animals. Now, Edison's adopter actually drove out here and met him and fell in love and met other animals, but they fell in love with Edison. So Craig is actually doing the Freedom Drive, the Forever Home Ride. Halfway, they're meeting on, I think it's Friday, and Joy did a virtual meet and greet. Now, Sally Sue's mom, Sally, she adores Joy. Adores her. Like, she's got the heart for pity. So do I. And so she did the home check on Joy's adopter and just bonded, just knew that it was a right fit. And sometimes you just know you're connected. Good attracts good. It's the same thing. And she wrote such a lovely message, and I reached out to her, and we did a virtual with Joy. And the thing is with our dogs and our cats, you see so many videos of them every day. That's what we want to do. We want you to see how they are, how they interact. So there was a virtual meet and greet with our staff member, and they also answer any questions because they're with the dogs every single day and they know them best. So our adoption process really does connect the people who know the dogs best with the people who are hoping and wanting to open their home to them. So it's an amazing process. Sometimes there's 5 or 6 people involved, and it's all volunteers, to everyone giving their heart and their time to it. And as I shared on a few episodes, we didn't do this before. Before, it used to be one person, do everything, make every decision, judge, jury, verdict. And that's not fair to them because you can make mistakes. You want checks and balances too. You want to bounce things off of each other. I was reading, we have a rescue network, Missouri, Nebraska, Kansas, where people get together and they kind of bounce ideas off of each other on Facebook. And somebody put in there the other day, they said, do you adopt to people under 21? And in our adoption contract, we do say 21 and over, but we have made exceptions. One of them was Tux. Tux's adopter. He was 19, just turning 20. We do have that standard, but it's not, everything is gray with us because life is gray. There's no black and white. That doesn't work in this world. We used to be black and white, but it was really interesting to see how some other rescues responded. Oh, you must be 25 or up. We would never adopt to 18-year-olds. We would never, like, all over the board. And, we're not a rescue that puts a requirement that you have a fence, that you don't live in an apartment, things like that. We do have a requirement that you will never, ever put a dog in the back of a truck bed, because I literally want to hunt people down that do that and like run them off the road and take their dog. Got a little angry on that. I'll stop that. I don't know how to enforce it. I just think it's the worst thing ever, and I hate it. But with adoptions, it really is. It's looking at someone's life and saying, I'm not here to judge you, but I want to make sure that this is the right fit for you and your family. And sometimes it's really hard to because you have very, very good people that might have done bad things. Everybody grows. Everybody makes mistakes. Again, it goes to the human experience. So if there is something on the background check that say, hey, we call them, we talk to them, how much time has elapsed since that happened? And for the most part, we're really just making sure that there's no animal abuse in that. Now, if there's animal abuse, out the door, like human abuse too, out the door. Sorry. Some things we do judge on, there has to be a line. And that's really what anything else that might raise a red flag, we talk about it. And then we say, hey, here's what's going on. Can you financially afford to take a dog into your care? Or a cat? Maybe not. Maybe the fostering is the best route. And a lot of people I know, I did not know what a foster was. I remember thinking my sister was taking advantage of a rescue when she said they gave her a dog and they pay for everything. I thought that was the weirdest thing I'd ever heard. I'm like, you have a free dog. Like, you don't even like dogs. Like, what are you doing with this dog? She's like, well, we're fostering. And then they founded a loving home. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And that's how little I knew about rescue when I was like 20. And so some people might not know that. We've started to expand to college students fostering, which is so amazing. I wish I had known in law school that I could foster a dog or a cat too. I didn't like cats at the time. Now I love them. But I would have loved to have a little companion there that I didn't pay for because I was so broke. I was living off of Taco Bell, 99-cent bean burritos and working all the time. But that's the thing. It's sometimes too. And when we have vet checks as well, are your animals vaccinated? Now, I will raise my hand I am the worst dog owner in this world. And without Sarah Mills, none of my dogs would have preventatives or flea and tick because I always forget.
Is that the one that's like once a month and has everything in it? Yeah, that's what it's on. Same.
You really should do that for your dog or cat too. I do it for the cats. I didn't know that. I had Muggsy and Libby for 12 years. I moved so much. I thought they don't need vaccines because they never go anywhere. It was my little world. And I'm like, they don't need vaccines. So I didn't vaccinate them. And I always moved. So I don't know who approved me to adopt from this organization, but I just adopt. I don't ask anyone anymore. So, but that's the whole thing. We want to educate people too. So if somebody has a vet record that might not show their animals are up to date on immunizations, then we have Judy call them and share the background as to why it's important to do that. It's all about sharing our lessons, sharing our knowledge and empowering people to be better pet owners too. And then maybe it is the right fit. So it's such a great process. All of it we learned from failure too.
I got to cut you off because you're going to keep talking and talking.
Okay. Jen, what are we talking about now? Okay.
Wait, hold on. Because you're like, you need to educate people. I think you need to educate yourself on some new friendly goats and mini horses that we're getting on Monday.
Y'all just say that the goats are making everybody panic. How all the stories of how to keep goats in a fence, we don't know how to do it. They're gonna jump the fence. I might as well have them live indoors.
Don't let them go to lane.
Yeah, cranky bit lane.
They're little goats. They're not like the big ones.
But everybody says goats hop. So for people that are not aware, we have 2 goats coming on Monday and 2 mini horses. Everyone's excited. 3 mini horses. Yeah.
Have you been in the group chat?
I thought that was the pony. I thought the pony wasn't coming.
No. So it's baby and mama. They're going to need new names. We should do a competition or something to rename, like to introduce them. No,
you know what? So they don't.
And then Penny's the other one.
Okay, so we have 3 mini horses joining our sanctuary. They are forever mini horses with us, and we are very, very excited. The goats are tagging along. How attached to the goats are you? Because we do have other. Okay,
I don't know anything about goats.
Goats because we have other rescues sanctuaries that are gonna help us with the goats.
Yes.
Okay, but are they neutered? This is a very good question.
Ooh, do you know? I don't.
Because they don't want baby goats, but if they're females, then it's okay.
I think they're females. I'll find out.
Okay, that's very good. So it's very, very exciting. We are excited.
I am excited.
I can't even tell you how excited we are. Because again, our mission statement evolved from our dream is to wake up in a world where every dog is treated with kindness, dignity, respect, and most importantly, their life has been touched by love. When we started rescuing cats, we changed that from our dream is to wake up in a world where every animal is treated with kindness, dignity, respect, and most importantly, their life has been touched by love. As we continued to grow, as we evolved as a rescue, we learned that it's not just about the animals. If you want to succeed in life, if you want to succeed as an organization, if you want to succeed as a human being, then you recognize all souls need love and they need to be treated with kindness, dignity, and respect. And so that's why we changed it to all souls. And really, it does make sense to bring mini horses here and to help whoever needs it. And so we really have also kind of taken the gloves off as to the limits of what a rescue can do. Oh, don't help that other rescue. They'll take your fosters away. They'll take your donors away. That's not what life is about. Love is abundant. Love is everywhere and everything. And the more you give, the more you help others, the more you get in return. Everything you put out comes back to you. So if you're putting out hate, if you're putting out negativity, and trust me, we have the haters. It is so very sad to see the people that put the hate comments against us. And not because they're putting hate out there, that is what it is. But to know that that's what they're focused on, that our world centers around their hate. And that kind of breaks my heart because they're in rescue, they're trying to do good things too, and yet they're focused on bringing another rescue down. And good luck with us because I think we're amazing. But to not have that personal piece to say, hey, I'm going to look within and I'm going to do what I know how to do, and to recognize that they're doing good things too. I only wish them peace. And that's where I see sadness when people turn to hate and rescue, because it's about building each other up and helping each other, especially when you fall down. We've had some really low times, and another shelter has given us space. When we were kicked out of Pleasanton, another shelter gave us space in their shelter with our 15 dogs. So we've been helped when we were stuck before. So we will always do whatever we can to help others. So it's
okay. Speaking of, so this episode's about to be like 2 hours, Jen, but I need you to update me on the cats. It was a house full of cats.
I saw those photos.
Can we just talk about how amazing Greta is in Wichita? She does so many things that you got to get her on an episode, because she's actually in the streets, in houses, helping people. Now, this was a gentleman that had lost his wife, and nobody had been in his house for over 20 years. And sometimes, if there's 2 cats, it unfortunately turns to 50 cats. And it became a hoarding situation. And he went to a hospice facility. And unfortunately, his family didn't know the living conditions he was in. And his family reached out to our rescue for help. And we shared that we did ask for permission to post the photos on. And it truly is to where you lose your breath to how not only human beings, but cats, felines who are notorious for being clean creatures, especially indoor cats, were living to where there were no litter boxes. There was no food. No one was feeding these cats. There was a broken window in the basement that some were going in and out. And they had not had any human interaction in years. And so Greta went in, and she went in with another amazing volunteer, and they're in these hazmat, like full gear, face mask covered, all the suited up completely, because if you've ever been in that type of environment, you can't breathe. You should not breathe in there, because it can actually make you very, very sick. And she went in there on Monday and she caught, I think, 5 of them. And she went back just today. The update was they have 9. And there's another brand new rescue that's going to take, I think, 3 of them. Now we're going to get every single one spayed and neutered, and then they'll take the 3 of them. So you're talking, they do believe it's 20. At one point, it was 50. The truth is, we don't know. We're not going to know until we can catch them. So they're putting traps up in there, and they're doing everything they can to get them out. But it's just to be brave enough to say, it's not even to judge. And I love that about our team, is that they just put the judgment and the shame aside, and they say, let's help not only these cats, but let's help this family who, number one, they're ashamed. And number 2, at some point, that home was filled with love. At some point, he had a wife, he had a family, they had cats, and it was not in the condition that it's in now. And so it's pushing all that aside and saying, hey, this is our present day. what can we do? And she keeps going back there. And so I think 9 are out now. We're hoping to get every single one, and she'll keep going back until we do. So it's amazing. It's things that I would have never thought we would do when, we turned our little red barn into a rescue. So now we've got 3 mini horses. There's 3. That's so exciting. I thought there were 2. I'm so excited.
No, you shared the wrong photo because I was hoping that other one was coming. It was just the wrong photo that you shared.
I don't even know. I feel like I can't even remember which ones they are. You got to give me 3 photos so we can share with Facebook, man.
I will.
Okay.
Oh, they can wait till Monday to see
Yeah,
them.
surprise.
Okay.
The trip has been completed. Everyone has made it safely. We'll do it.
I'm so excited.
Okay. Well, I think Thursday we're going, and I'm just going to buy out the whole store of things for the horses.
We'll make a list, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
The corporate world says all.
Very, very exciting things to come. So,
All right, Sag.
Jen,
yes.
we need to cover dog or cat.
Can we do Greenbean? He's one of our longest residents that just hasn't had any interest. He is an older guy. I think he just turned 10 with us last year. One thing that we do that's unique to us is every year we do celebrate birthdays with our dogs. We think it's important to give them a very special day. So they get their bones, they get presents. People send in donations because sometimes it runs about, especially for a senior, about $2,500 a year for an animal in our care. Now that's if there's no extreme medical, because if you're taking staffing, vaccines, etc., food. But he had his birthday last year and he's got bad hips, so he can't do stairs. He's not good with other dogs. He'll probably think a cat's a snack. He loves kids and humans. So humans all sizes. He just lights up, and he's got this best, amazing little bulldog bounce. And so if you've ever seen a video of him, he just big fat belly bouncing around. He can't do stairs. I will say that he is the cutest guy, cutest little old man in a sweater in the snow. He just steals your heart. He's one of those guys where you could see what those 1920s caps, you could put that on him. He just blend in there. He's just such a cool cat. And nobody has applied for him because he's not good with other dogs. And I get that. But if you have a chill lifestyle, if you're not looking to go to a dog park, and if you just want to go on a walk and be in your house and have someone that's going to love you forever, I swear to God, he looks at you and he just loves with his soul. And I don't know any other way to say that there's such an amazing connection he has with all of our volunteers. And everybody's praying for that guy to find a forever home. They deserve it. We'll do Cranberry next time. She's another one.
I was going through when I was doing some of the graphics and came up on all the photos of the dogs and came across Cranberry. And I'm like, oh, she's so precious.
Cranberry.
We got to do her next time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll do Cranberry next time. We'll remember that. But we're going to do.
So I didn't even think that I had a lot to talk about. And then we just look at that boob. You should have me on every week. I feel like I can feel your.
Next episode, we're going to have to talk about my foster.
Yes. Next episode.
Yes. Well, why'd you ask me about a dog? We could have just done yours.
No.
Okay.
Noah and Griffin is besties right now. So
we'll see.
We'll
do that. And then I'm going to get on a cadence this season of dropping our episodes every Wednesday or Thursday or something.
There's so much to share, and there's so many people that can share so many different things that I don't, from such unique perspectives. And I would love to have them on here with you guys.
2025, bigger and better. Boom.
Big dreams ahead.
We got this.
I'm very excited. We're all excited.
As always, it's never too late for a happily ever after.